What the heck is up, guys? Welcome to a spooky edition of Mostly Movies Podcast. You know what it is. I'm your host, Christian Paul Goddard. With me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, in the sick hat, never a dull hat, Nick Radwanski, everybody. Give it up for him. Yay! What? I'm coming off the heels of Lake Tahoe, so please excuse me. Wow, it's very long.
We're live.
It's very long.
I can control it. It's up to 36 seconds.
Of applause?
Yeah,
What
that
is
would
this,
be
Cannes?
like if we got to 1,000 subscribers, I would go a full 36 seconds.
Yeah, like
That is what's
right.
Cannes?
The film festival where they do the standing ovations for like 65 minutes for the Joker 2.
Yes, I pronounce it Canis. I think it's Cannes. You're right.
I'm pretty sure it's Cannes. I don't know. Maybe you're right.
No, I'm definitely not right.
I gotta think too. Like the standing ovation for more than even 15 seconds is like crazy to me. After like 10 minutes, because some movies get like 10 to 15 minutes of continuous clapping, and you're just standing, and the stars are just standing there awkwardly. I'd be like, please stop this.
The only time that
you don't need to clap that long.
The only time that makes sense is if it's the wild robot, because there's no actual human standing there waiting for the applause to end.
Good point.
Do you like that transition?
I do, and that's what we're getting into today, guys. We the past couple weeks have been seeing a bunch of spooky movies, and just like our nation, we need to. What they're saying is tone down the rhetoric and turn down the temperature. So we.
I love the buzzwords around election time. Turn down the temperature.
We need to turn the temperature down. No more blood and guts this week. We figured we can go the opposite with Wild Robot from DreamWorks Pictures, which I thought it was a Pixar movie this entire time. I did not know it was DreamWorks.
DreamWorks. It's funny you mentioned that, because what I was thinking at the beginning of this movie is how many hits, and a lot of people probably don't know this, and I don't know the name, and I'm not an animation historian, but I do know that DreamWorks was created by an ex-Pixar animator. He defected from Pixar, was like, I'm just going to do my own thing, and I don't know the reasons for why. But when they, in the beginning of Wild Robot, DreamWorks, their new intro to, their new production intro or whatever they call that, they have like these little characters in their thing of all their previous movies, and I just forgot how many hits. Shrek, DreamWorks,
and
well, no, that like there's many more, but my mind is going blank because I'm thinking about Wild Robot, but there was a ton of them that they dropped in there. Puss in Boots, DreamWorks.
Definitely.
Which is obviously a sequel to Shrek, obviously.
Did you see the last Puss in Boots?
Over the Hedge, DreamWorks. The Bad Guys that came out last year, DreamWorks. Like, these are all, they're great. DreamWorks does a killer job.
Do you think they're overtaking Pixar a little bit? Oh, they got Kung Fu Panda. They got
Kung Fu Panda.
How to Train Your Dragon, which I never saw but was a hit.
That's a big hit, yeah. Well, they're taking
Shark
over
Tale.
Primarily, oh god, Shark Tale, underrated. Jordan loves that movie. My daughter Jordan loves that movie.
Yeah, they got bangers, dude.
They're not beholden to the Disney / kind of narrative. I mean, I know Pixar is its own company, but it sure seems like DreamWorks just has less constraints on what they put out. I guess I don't know.
What was the last Pixar movie?
Probably Minions. Probably the one that just came out, Despicable Me 4, I think is a Pixar movie. Or no, it's
okay. No. Yeah. Which they're like a little like wild card over there at Illumination Studios.
Inside Out Inside Out 2 was a Pixar movie.
I see.
Which I just look at that as Disney, so
Yeah. I did see. That's Illumination too. Migration. I saw that. Yeah, Inside Out 2 looks like it's the last one. Yeah, I think DreamWorks is kind of overtaking them a little bit.
And they have, like I said, they got movies that people forget about too. Like Over the Hedge is one of my favorite movies, and that's a DreamWorks movie, and it's spectacular. So,
yeah, that was kind of the last. Well, they have Megamind and stuff too, but yeah, whatever. But what I will say is the animation now these days, I don't know why everyone's kind of gone to this like 2D / 3D kind of like back and forth animation. And I don't know if I'm just getting old, but my brain can't really comprehend it at some point. Like the Into the Spider-Verse or whatever.
Right.
Dude, I almost stroked out 3 times watching that movie. And the second one's even worse. It's so many colors, and it's like it's almost like stop motion, that kind of,
Right.
which it's like it's brilliant for the animators, but it's hard for me to kind of watch. And in this movie, I thought the animation overall was great, but then there was some things like the fox at sometimes looked like they just didn't even complete it.
Yeah,
In some scenes, he looked like they didn't even put any effort into it at all. It looked weird.
So let's get into the Wild Robot. Let's get into it. Christian's picked the last couple of movies, and that was by design because he's our current events man. He will be managing our Twitter account soon. We were just talking about that before we went live.
Yes, a good time to jump into Twitter. By the way, very good climate to really get into it.
Well, we're gonna get in there to unite the country over movies. That's our whole thing. Right.
I love that.
That's what we do. Yeah.
I fucking love that.
Otherwise, it's a death sentence out there. So
if we don't, there will be riots.
Yeah, they need us.
Yes, they will tone down the rhetoric if they hear this podcast.
We're going to keep a pulse on things, but we're going to tone down the rhetoric. Oh yeah, so Christian, so he this time though he said, you pick because he's picked a couple of high anxiety, high stress movies.
Not good.
Guys, if you're following us, you'll see. You can go back and watch our previous pods. So the Wild Robot, and the only thing that I'm bummed about is that my girls, the 16-year-old twins, did not get to go with us. So I will be seeing it again. But before I get into my takes, let's hear. We wanted to do this is our first instant reaction pod, which is a way better way to do this.
So our first nightcast, which is
nightcast,
spooky.
I mean, I
have to turn the lighting. So my girlfriend has just been on my ass about the lighting, and she cannot stand it. She's like our production manager now. The past few podcasts.
Oh, it's terrible. I just gave up. I mean, you're a grown man. I don't need to tell you.
I know, but I like the salt lamps. I think it's tonight. The sun was down, so I had to improvise, and I'm back from the live from the kiddie table, baby.
Well, you got your own room. I mean, it's not the kiddie table, but we do need a ring light. You need that. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, look at this chair. It's crazy. It's from my porch.
And I love this, guys. This is raw live podcasting.
That's the worst chair of all time.
This is the video we look back on in like 6 to 8 years ago. This is where it all started. Is your patio
I literally
chair.
Just got a thorn in my ass. I just pulled this out of my ass.
Quick, Thorn was the name of the bear in Wild Robot.
But yeah, so let's get into it.
Give me your raw reaction here.
Well, I thought there was a couple different stories within the movie, and I thought the overall message was about acceptance and the robot trying to fit into obviously let's give the premise. So a wild robot gets shipwrecked onto a remote island, which apparently has every animal of every species, which is pretty common for I think most islands. They have bears, foxes, and everything. But so she gets shipwrecked.
They have every animal from Noah's Ark,
crabs,
on this island.
Yeah, it literally turned in at that one scene. But so a robot gets washed up on shore and turns on and is obviously lost and trying to find her way, and then finds a baby goose egg. Correct?
Yes,
that's what it was, right? A goose. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Canadian goose. I don't know. It was
probably.
Goose.
I mean, this island had every flavor you could want of every animal. So she finds this goose and raises it, and then the story becomes about the baby goose also trying to fit in because it doesn't have its mom, and it's raised obviously by a robot. So I thought the overall message was definitely interesting. I thought the premise was really interesting. It had a lot of moving moments, and then it kind of becomes like two different stories in a way. Once she trains the goose to fly and swim, and then once the migration happens, the goose leaves, and then it's about her finding herself, right, again without the goose, and the goose finding itself without the robot, and then them coming together, obviously back in the end. So I thought and then it became like Noah's Ark for a minute. It kind of went off on it went off on its own kind of tangent, and then it was cool because they, unlike the last movie, they landed the plane, so to speak. Right. That's my new phrase. Can they land the plane?
Right. And it's a great. I mean, that's a great phrase. It's a great way to look at every movie, because if you can't land it, Then, and just to plug for my reviews, the exit vibes are poor. And you want me, because this is all about impressing me. You want me to leave that theater going, I would recommend someone to see this with zero reservations. Now, it's not going to be perfect. Not everyone's a hit, but that's what you're aiming for. And if you don't land the plane, I can't do that. So,
No, and my favorite Pixar movie is Wall-E, I think. And it gave me a lot of Wall-E vibes because there's a dystopian aspect to it.
and it's very subtle too. I don't even know. It was so subtle that I don't even know if everyone caught it. You did probably, where when the birds were flying and you see the Golden Gate is underwater. It's very
Yeah.
brief.
Yeah. I liken it to me coming back from Lake Tahoe. That was the island, and now I'm back in this dystopian hellscape. No, so I really like that vibe of it, and I like how it was kind of secluded from all that, and then they kind of mixed it back in. But overall, I thought it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, finish your thought.
I thought it was great. It's no Shrek 1. It's definitely no Shrek 1 to me, but it's just hard to recapture. I don't know. It's just that the state of movies now is just and I think they did the best job they could, but people are giving it like 5 stars. I'm like, I'll pump the brakes on that, but definitely like 4.5.
Yeah, if you and it's pretty clear that you thought it was well done, but what would you ding them on the 0.5 for? Just for our listeners,
The animation for one, for me, and that's just my personal taste, because we saw the Moana 2 trailer, and the animation on that, I don't know, it's kind of weird to say like more old school, I guess. I don't know, but
Moana, you seemed it was more old school. That's what you thought?
The animation, at least
in Moana 2.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Again, it doesn't have that 2D. It's just all completely 3D. But
Moana, you're talking about Moana 2 is all 3D.
Yeah, it doesn't have that kind of Spider-Man-y or that. Did you see the
right?
Did you see the new Ninja Turtles one too? It's unwatchable to me. I cannot fucking watch that movie.
Right. No, I hear what you're saying. Anyway, so the animation for one dings it a little bit.
And what I loved the unforced humor in this movie. I thought they did a great job of just organically mixing that into a lot of moments. There's like a lot of good one-liners. So I thought it was great. But yeah, I would just say the animation for me, and it's like, again, it's not the story's been done. It's not an original, plot. So I'm still kind of searching for that, I guess, in movies,
Interesting. Okay. So you guys heard CPG's take. So I have similar takes, but we also have some variants here. So
tell me if I'm wrong.
No, this is why we do it, right? Because I had someone today, not to get too off on a tangent, but one of our listeners who I know in life was like, "Oh, I heard you guys talking about Smile 2, and I hated that movie." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So like everyone's gonna like what they like and don't like. So that's what we do this, right? There's no you're right and I'm wrong. There's only you stink and I'm great. No, I'm just kidding. There's only how does it hit you? So love that.
Well, I just thought I thought there was a lot of things that they took from Wall-E. And a similar thing about like there was a lot of environmental aspects to it. And you're like, I've kind of seen that before. So I mean, I'm not trying to overanalyze too much, but
no, and I think part of it too, when you're older like we are, you have to remember we've seen that. So for us, it isn't new because we've seen that part of it. But for a younger audience, it's completely new because in the last 10, 15 years, there's been nothing like that, right? So which we could say the same thing about Marvel and comic movies. But anyway, I would say I'm going to echo some of the things you said. The first thing that you said, which I thought is differ on the screenplay and I'll get to that, but you said there's 2 plots and there's actually 3, which what I was impressed with was that they were able to do 3 stories or 3 messages without it feeling like I was getting 3 messages. And so there was the goose doesn't fit in, the robot's finding herself, and then the third one is bringing the animals together, where kind of the you got to put the good of the community, or in this case the good of the island, over the selfish desires, right? So there's 3 and none of it felt forced. It all felt very seamless and it wasn't not rushed too, that's why from a screenplay perspective I was impressed, because that is not always easy to do. Now, granted, I think the reason that worked is because they didn't rush it. They said it might take, I don't know what the running time was on it, but my guess is it's an extra 15, 20 minutes longer than you would expect. And
It
that's
felt fast.
it did not feel fast to me.
Really, I felt like I
No.
was in and out of there, which I love. Great.
No. Well, I mean, maybe the experience felt smooth. Maybe that's what maybe that's that. But so here's where I understand the animation piece, but these studios are we're talking billion-dollar studios. So like you pointed out, like there was times where the Fox animation, you're like, well, that's weird because it's just the Fox.
Yeah,
It
and it's
wasn't like
just
there wasn't any other character, and that's a main character. So it was weird because, like you said, it was like did they just black out during the Fox scenes, or my immediate thought was they must have individual animators for each character, and that guy's just high or drunk. Like
yeah.
everyone else is bringing their A game, and
Well,
that
there
guy's like
was
that Chicago Bears player. He was just taunting the crowd, not paying attention to like, hey man, we're making a movie over here, bro.
hey
What's
dude, we're
going
throwing
on?
a we're throwing a Hail Mary over here.
Yeah,
Uh
he threw a Hail Mary on that Fox. It
yeah,
was
there was
weird.
just no details, some like details of the fur and the face. It just, and maybe
It
that
was
was by
strange.
design. I don't know. It was
Yeah,
strange.
well, and what I was gonna say, my point with that was, this is a billion-dollar industry. They don't edit that and not seeing it. They clearly know it. So there's must be a method to it. I didn't understand it, and that's where they do get dinged for that because there doesn't seem to be a purpose to it. It's just weird. So is that a place? Also, side note, did not help for some reason. Mark, drop a couple stars on this one. Why am I seeing captions in my theater production?
Yeah, I thought that was
They had
weird too.
captions on. I've never seen that before. That was an
But just
accident.
for some things though.
No,
Like
well,
sound, like there was some captions for just sounds, like
no,
water.
I think the captions were there. No, I think the captions were there the whole time. I think we just blacked out. We got used to it. Yeah, and we just our eyes shut it off because
Well,
we
I'll
said
have to.
anyway.
Yeah,
It's
maybe you're
weird,
right. I'm so used to captions now, but
right? And
yeah,
it
maybe
and
you're
I think
right.
we did get used to it after about 40 minutes because we are so used to seeing it because I do that too at night, right? Like I have them on, but at the theater it was really weird. Anyway, I digress. So to go back to the movie, I thought that the three messages were cool, but some of those have been done. I totally agree. So obviously the fine, not fitting in, that's been done. The bring the community together for Comic Con, that's been done. What was unique though was to me is, and also every time something is done, it gets harder and harder to create something new
Of course,
because
yeah, of
it's like,
course.
I mean, so, but the idea of putting the robot with the animals, that hasn't been done. Wally was by himself, so there was no relationship. And like, if you watch the trailer, to be honest with you, you will not really get an understanding of what this movie's about. If you watch the trailer, you don't really know. So I actually thought like there's a part in the beginning, where, and this part was really cool, where the robot, it doesn't understand. It hears the animals, it sees the animals, but it can't understand what's going on. And my first thought was, oh, is this going to be a whole movie with no dialogue?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
worried, but they did a really cool thing, which is like it's a robot, so the robot goes into learning mode, and all of a sudden it can translate the characters, which I thought was really smart. That's new, so I liked that. And then I didn't have to watch a silent film for the rest of it, so I was happy about that. So I liked all those things. I thought that was great. My ding on it, well, one more positive, and then I'll get to my ding on it, aside from the animation, because you covered that. And if you guys read my reviews, again, thescreengods.com, rad reviews, read those. You will always see, for me, I think the soundtrack and score, it will take a movie that is mediocre and make it a little bit better than mediocre or good. This movie, the score and the soundtrack, all the way from just the music of the scenes that have been played out, they were better because the score was really good. Specifically, the part where he learns how to fly, where the duck
Yeah,
learns how
the
to fly.
montage of him learning how to
The
fly for sure.
montage of learning how to fly, and then also when he leaves on the migration, both of those scenes, they're separate scenes and separate music. And I always feel like, from a movie review standpoint, and Christian doesn't mean my review, so he doesn't know this,
You don't
but
know that.
I've said there's almost zero cases where you shouldn't be able to work in a song with lyrics at some point in the movie. There's some examples, like a period piece like Gladiator or The Patriot, where it just doesn't make sense, right? It's historical. But if you can put in a song that has lyrics in it that is with the movie that makes sense, you're going to engage the audience and they're going to remember it. And so I thought that was really well done. So that was why I get it all the way up to a 4.5. I thought that was really good. Really
And
good.
that's a good point, because that's something that's radically different from like the 90s and early 2000s animated movies, where you had like Lion King, Circle of Life, obviously
Yeah.
banger,
Elton John. Yeah.
Elton John,
Aladdin.
Phil Collins, and Tarzan. Obviously is like the goated soundtrack, is what the kids say on TikTok.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, probably. But I mean,
Shout
it
out to
is,
Phil
honestly.
Collins, baby. Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. They don't really do that anymore either, or at least have like high profile people doing the soundtracks.
Right.
And I think that's something they should probably go back and revisit. Is Phil Collins okay? Is he?
No, he's slowly. I mean, it's coming to the end. He's got a lot of health issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Sucks.
And it's not just for animated movies. It's for every movie. If you can figure out a way to do it, and it doesn't have to be the soundtrack to the movie. I'm not saying everything needs to be Whitney Houston, Bodyguard, or Titanic. That's not what I'm saying. But there are opportunities, and there's certain movies where they just play. It's like a chase scene, but instead of playing suspense music, they play like a funny song in the chase scene, right? Things like that, where you're just getting into it and like, oh shit, suddenly you're singing along and you're engaged with it. So anyway, really good job. The thing for me that docks at the half point is I didn't care for the end of the robot war against the animals piece, where the robots, the corporation is trying to bring the robot back and they're chasing the robot. And I understand why they felt the need to put it in the movie, where it's like, oh, the animals are rallying around the robot and saving the robot and whatever. But that it extended the movie an extra 15 to 20 minutes, which I was like, we don't need this, because the message had already been done.
Right.
The message of coming together was already done. So we didn't need it. It was unnecessary. And it also felt like you said, they're trying to land the plane, and they did land it, but it could have been shorter and I think more meaningful without all that chaos at the end. So that was my take on it.
And it was kind of redundant, because she ended up leaving anyways.
Right.
All that really was her just to like be able to get another moment and say goodbye and I love you to the goose, because that was the thing, right? They left without saying goodbye and I love you, and that was the whole reason you wanted to come back. And so that whole part just kind of ended up not being needed, just because she was like, well, I'm gonna bounce anyways.
Right. And I think it took away from the message slightly, because it was like, it was done. You put a nice bow on it, and then, oh, why is it not done? So yeah, I totally agree with you there. And you're right. As you're talking about WALL-E, is that being one of your favorite movies, the whole like robot feeling love thing definitely has been done before. But they did an interesting job of kind of trying to spin it into something new. But
it was definitely
overall pretty good.
Yeah, it was a unique take for sure. And like you said, everything is at this point already been done. So we think, it just seemed like,
until it's not.
Yeah, but it just seemed like when we were kids, like, I don't know, it just things with like Toy Story or Shrek, or like, I don't think any of these movies just hit that hard, or I've yet to see an animated movie that's like, damn, that's up in that category. I don't think there's anything touching those movies.
Not in the last, I would say the closest thing in the last 15 years. And also you have to remember,
of course,
some of these movies, you realize, like, I think in the last 15 years, the one that I think got the most unique attention for something like that was probably like Despicable Me.
Definitely.
With the Minions, and that was a whole new concept, right? Like that story, nothing had, that was very unique. So that was cool.
And that was like 2008, dude.
That's what I'm saying. It's like 15 years ago.
And they made 15 Minion movies off that.
Right.
It's crazy. And 4 regular Despicable Me's, right?
Yeah. And the last one was just okay. I have that review up. I actually did that review. It was okay. It was chaos. But to your point, though, about things that haven't been done, that's why you get things like Into the Spider-Verse and that kind of animation, because that was the first time anyone's done that.
True. That's a good point. That movie was groundbreaking as hell.
It was. But I agree that the second time around, I was like, dude, like, I'm exhausted. My eyes are hurting me.
And they're just so long. Like, animated movies have no fucking business being 2+ hours. They just don't. An hour and a half, 90 minutes, and we're good. We got it. Get us out of here. But a highlight of this week, theater full of kids, no talking.
Most behaved patrons we've seen in this month.
No talking for the first time in 3 weeks. Everyone was locked in. They knew the assignment.
They knew the assignment.
They went out there and played their role.
That is my favorite new kids phrase. Oh, they knew the assignment, or that kind of thing. I love that.
Yeah.
So, question for you. Let's go into a segment. And this is a new segment. I'm springing this on Christian now. He doesn't know this is coming. I had this thought for content that I think is a good one, which is we're going to do a movie madness kind of in a way where we're going to see 4 movies a month easy. And so at the end of each month, we're going to face these off. We're going to pick a winner. And then in terms of exit vibes, like just overall experience, right? And I'll put those up and either, we'll get it up as a poll. And if we don't have enough subscribers or followers to vote on it, no big deal. I'll pick because I control things.
Head on over to that TikTok. We're picking up traffic over on the
TikTok's
top.
growing. Absolutely.
Now, granted, the bar over there is about as low as it could fucking possibly be, but we're gaining traction, baby.
Yeah, and listen, if you're listening to this thing, we need you. So if you're in our personal lives, subscribe, rate, review the podcast when it goes up, please.
Comment,
review things, comment, engage. Don't be like some of these guys that I've been talking to where I've heard they listen to the podcast, but they don't comment, they don't like it, and they don't share it. Hey, guys, it costs you nothing. It's free. Help us out. This is our retirement plan. This is literally it. We have no other plans.
This is it.
So
literally.
We need you.
We're just doing this till the asteroid hits. So,
yeah, that new one that's coming. Yeah, I heard.
Is there a new one? Don't fucking say that, dude.
I mean, it's small.
Oh, okay.
It's like the size. It's like of a Volkswagen or something. I don't know.
Plus, I'm like thoroughly convinced. Like, what's that movie where they was it Armageddon?
Armageddon.
I'm thoroughly convinced they can do that. Now,
blow it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
why can't we nuke it?
Well, I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but there's a lot of people that would have you believe we can't even get into space now. So you got two sides of the same coin there. Like we either have never been in space and we don't know how, and that's all a farce, or you're on Christian's camp, which is we can get there and blow shit up.
That's what I'm Team Armageddon, dude.
You're Team
Nuke
Armageddon.
that thing. We have to be able to,
baby.
Yeah, but
well, okay, real quick. So back to my content idea.
Yes,
not content idea, but what we're gonna do. So I need you to tell me. I want you to pick a movie. We've seen 4 of them this month, right? The Substance, Smile 2, Speak No Evil, and then The Wild Robot. You got to pick one, and say this is the winner of this month. Which one are you going with?
The best overall movie is Wild Robot for sure.
You heard it here, folks, and you're not going to get any pushback from me. Anytime an animated movie can invoke more feelings and emotions, especially on a story that's been done, it's just a really well done movie and really well directed. However you direct an animated movie and edit it, I mean, I don't know how that works, but it was really well done. So
yeah, I just look at it as if I was going to rewatch one of them, probably that one for sure. The other ones, Speak No Evil was okay. The Substance and Smile 2, you get to a point where you just hate watching it. And you're begging for it to be over, or you're begging. I'm almost jammed this microphone into my own eyeball. I might just smile to myself.
You're right. You actually want other people to see it, but you don't want to see it again. That's a weird paradox. I'm like, yeah, go see it. Go see The Substance, please, because I want you to experience that, because I don't want to be the only one that experienced it. But also, I'm not going to see it again.
Nah,
unless it is strictly to watch your face as they crash the plane into the ground at the end, then maybe.
I mean, I half expected the robot tonight just to start ripping its guts out at the end, because that's what we're so used to. Well, it kind of did.
It did. It literally did that on the way down. Don't you need that? I have everything I need. That's so crazy that you just said that. That's so
we can't
funny.
escape. We can't escape it.
God, it was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well, great. We agree on that, so we don't need to have a fan poll, and frankly, it doesn't matter. We don't have enough subscribers, so subscribe, people, follow, and all that. But my goal is we'll keep a winner every month at the end, and then at the 12-month mark, at our year anniversary, we're going to bracket it, and we'll create a poll that just says, all right, hey, in the last year, our 1-year anniversary, we want to see what is the best movie in that time period, either that we pick or that our followers or subscribers vote on.
Yeah, we could be the new Oscars. We could effectively make the Oscars more obsolete than they already are. We can do our own.
we'll have Ricky Gervais host all of them, and then
Yes.
no problem.
And maybe we'll do it in March too, to align with the March Madness.
Right. Yeah,
something.
maybe definitely we can do our first crack at that, because obviously this time we're only going to have a couple of months in this year, in 2024. But anyway, so that's the idea. So this month, guys, it is the it is The Wild Robot. It's the winner, best overall movie this week.
Yeah, a lot of stinkers this month. And
What was the worst movie? Based on what you said, I think the way you said it was really good. Would I see it again?
And I would say it's the one that I'm least annoyed by, because The Substance and Smile 2, I can only describe them as annoying at a certain point, which, I mean, I guess you could say that it's well done in that regard, because it's just eating away at you the whole time. And you're like, I don't want to watch this, but I have to keep going. I have to finish this pilgrimage to the blood and guts at the end of both. I would say probably Speak No Evil, I would say, is probably the worst. And that's because the remake was 10 times better to me. And they didn't even need to remake it. I mean, the original
was better.
Yes, and the original only came out 2 years ago, and for some stupid fucking reason, they were like, we need to remake this now, and also change the ending to a worse ending and not as shocking as the original ending, which I thought made the whole movie worth the time of watching it. Because again, like we said on the last cast, the original movie gave me satisfaction at the end, even though it was tragic and horrible. At least I was like, yeah, those are stupid people and they deserve to get stoned to death. Great. And the remake, there was no satisfaction to me. And again, it was just an unnecessary movie to even make to begin with.
Yeah, I understand.
Love James McAvoy, but it just...
Yeah, no, I agree. Not to cut you off, but it seemed like they if you're going to remake it, because it didn't get enough, this original story didn't get enough attention, and it should have, and you wanted to give it a Hollywood production level stuff, but do it with bigger star power, maybe, refine the writing and keep it dark and stuff. You could have done that, because to get the story out there, because again, it never got probably more than, it didn't even make more than like $1 million. It was nothing. So if you would have done that, okay, but it seems like they're like, well, how can we make this family friendly in a way, which took all of the juice out of the story. And I was re-listening to our pod last week, and you were talking about the line of, are you doing this to us? And it's like, because you let me. And it really hit me then that what a waste of an opportunity that movie could have been. Even the remake, like, because I understand why to remake it. It probably got a little bit of attention inside the streaming services. And like, oh, there's something to this, but it needs more financing. It needs a bigger budget to get it out there. And then they completely did not do that. They gave it a budget and then changed it. So it just wasn't as good.
And you watch the original and you go, this movie's not even good enough it's good as a small budget foreign film. That's what makes it good. Because it doesn't have the star power, it doesn't have all of that. It's just a solid foreign flick, but it's not good enough to be like, we need to remake this immediately. Like, I just don't understand that. Although it probably, I don't even know if it made money, but maybe it did. But I don't know. It just didn't seem. It would be like them remaking Parasite, the movie, like a year after, with a white family. I don't know. It just. Didn't. The movie wasn't needed, so I would say Speak No Evil, because at least The Substance and Smile 2, again, even though it annoyed me, it made me intrigued to keep watching it.
Yeah, I would say it makes sense to me too, because it invoked the least feelings on the way out. So for me, that's how I would view it. All right, cool. All right, so Mostly Movies, guys. Mostly Movies podcast. Let's transition now into what segment you want to go with. You want to go with what stinks this week, or do you have what's good? I feel like you might have some good news.
I do have some good, well, I mean, not good news, but I was in Lake Tahoe over the weekend. Got a free room for 2 nights, a nice little cozy little cabin from our friend, which was very sweet. So got up there, and I think I've talked about this, I think on our first podcast, which maybe it didn't, I think that was the first one to come out, but I absolutely love movie marathons in a hotel room. It's the best shit ever. Commercials, everything. It was snowing outside. I'm watching Predator 1 through 16 Was up
Wow.
at like
How
6 in
many
the
days were
morning.
you there?
Just 2.
1 through 16? Jesus.
It was like Predator, Predator 2, Alien vs Predator,
Versus
and then like
Predator.
yeah. But it's so fucking awesome, and I hadn't seen the first Predator in years. So and it's fucking awesome. Arnold Schwarzenegger's great. You know what though? Carl Weathers in that movie is
Yeah.
absolutely fucking jacked. And Arnold he gets all the shine, but Carl Weathers is fucking sure. I had no idea how shredded that man was. Rest in peace to him. But yeah, I just hotel movie marathon. What else did we watch? We watched 50 First Dates. We were in the cabin a lot.
Like you said, snow falling or gray sky, clouds and all that, and it's white, it's pretty, and you're not spending money in this case really at all.
Nope.
Yeah.
And then we were in North Shore, and there's like because it's like the in between season. I think actually yesterday was like their first snowfall of the year. People were telling us. So and dude, we always miss the weather by just like a hair. Like every single time it's like Independence Day at the end where they're flying the spaceship and the fucking doors are closing and they just barely fucking squeak out of there. That's how we are. That's how we are with the snow. We get in and we get out as soon as it's getting bad. And also, we found this bar. Shout out to Jason's by the beach. Jason's Bar by the Beach, I think it was. It was right on Kings Beach, and it's just this. It's all wood. It's old timey. The wind outside was whipping. It was cold as shit, and we're inside sipping whiskey with the locals, talking to the owner, talking to shop owners from next door. We're watching got to watch the Niners Cowboys game. It was fucking beautiful.
You got to watch it at the bar?
At the bar on a tiny TV screen, a tiny shitty Michael Scott TV screen from like 06.
Was it a tube?
No, it wasn't a tube, but
it was like epic.
It was one of like the first flat screen. It's an old fucking.
It's an LCD probably.
Yeah, whatever the fuck. We can't even tip it sideways because it'll explode. Whatever. Or just inside, it's warm, it's cozy. It was amazing. So we had a great time, and I'd be remiss to not talk about what I have to talk about because last week I was shitting on Safeway. I said 2 weeks ago I said the beef is back on, the war is back on, and this is really toning down the rhetoric. Safeway in Tahoe, nothing's locked up. I can go get deodorant, I can get a toothbrush. The only thing that was locked up was the expensive liquor. Fine. It's open 24 hours. You can get a shopping cart. There's a basket if you need. You can grab a basket. It really brought me back a little bit. So shouts out to Safeway. And there's no homeless people outside dying because they can't live there.
Because it's freezing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So yeah.
All right. Well, good.
Had a great time. I got nothing that stinks this week. Got nothing.
Really?
No. Got nothing.
Well, that's a good week then, I guess.
Except I was very hungover this morning driving home, and I'll tell you, Highway 80 sucks. But that's nothing new. But it's the worst freeway. None of the pavement is even. There's half the lanes are closed all the time. It's just it's a pretty drive, but it's shitty, dude, especially when you're hungover and you're trying to get home. It's up, down, turns, obviously. So you really got to pay attention to what the fuck you're doing.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, you can't coast your way down a winding mountain.
No, definitely not. And doing it hungover is no fun.
All right, well, I'll piggyback off of that and turn it into what stinks this week, just because it's what stinks right now, period, in the current state of the world. But I'll use your good story as inspiration. I don't think Jamie and I will be able to afford to go to a hotel until the election is over and we have a year to undo whatever has been done. Whoever's in office. But here's the deal. I cannot afford. Anyone out there, if you've tried to pay for a hotel, if you are not spending $300 a night, there is a very good chance you're going to end up in a flea bag motel, no matter what city you're in. It's unspeakable what these hotels are charging for a 10 by 10 Cracker Jack box with termites and roaches. And it's not just recently. It's been this way now for multiple years. Okay. Along with everything else going up. But I mean, I'm trying to think about when I'm going to be able to afford to take a vacation. And this is the only this is a what stinks is hotels. What doesn't stink, cruises. They're the only thing going on where you get your money's worth, and that's always been the case, and it's even more true now than it's ever been. But yeah, I cannot with these hotels. And this is now a PS. This is now a public service announcement. When you go to any of these hotel travel websites, I don't care which one it is, Travelocity, Kayak, or whatever the hell that these ones are called now. Do not trust the pictures. Don't do it. It's not good. I can tell you it's not good. Hotels stink. So that's my rant for this week.
Well, you know what it is it's the invention of the resort fee. That's what's really, really fucking putting a damper on the entire thing. I mean, I've been to hotels. There's a hotel in Monterey. We were there in the middle of fucking January for my girl's birthday. There's no amenities. There's a hot tub. There's a hot tub, and it was $40 a day resort fee. And you're like, I don't understand who or why this is allowed. It's fucking it's crazy, and they kind of got people by the balls now because Airbnb is so shitty. Which you want to talk about hotels? Airbnb is it's unspeakable what they're doing over there.
I've never stayed in an Airbnb ever. Never have.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you've. I mean, it's been said a million times, but the cleaning fees are like $200, which you have to clean up everything, and if you don't, they'll ding you. You're doing your own dishes, you're doing your own fucking. Sometimes they're like, you need to strip the sheets and put the fucking sheets in the water. I mean, take out the trash. They're like, I said at one Airbnb, they're like, you got to take out the trash. What the fuck are you even talking about? So
I'm doing chores on my vacation.
It's fucking insane. So like because Airbnb is so shitty now, I feel like people are migrating back to hotels, which for a while like Airbnb was kind of
it went the other way.
Yeah,
right.
So they're kind of flocking back now, but I think they're just like, yeah, we can just charge. I mean, that's kind of the case with everything. Everything's just like, yeah, we can charge whatever you want. You're gonna fucking pay for it, or you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it's very similar to like, well, everything basically. I could go real wide lens with this and just say the economy stinks, but and try to keep it focused. But I really am like trying to figure out how I would do it, and it's to the point, dude, where even if you were like, because sometimes you're like, oh well, maybe I'll just go camping. Maybe that's the ticket. No, it isn't, because you can't afford the gas to take you. Like there was a time where you could go on a road trip and take your family like cross country, and it was financially doable because you would be camping and you could see you can't do that anymore. It would cost me $2,000 in gas to go across the country and back. It's insane.
Well, yeah, it's like,
and camping, by the way, camping, not staying in hotels. So
it's these little goblin people, these little, I don't even know what to call these people who go, yes, we can create a fee. The pool and hot tub used to be free, but we can create a new fee for them to use the pool, which they're already paying for. They're just sick fucking people, whoever they are. It's great, dude. I swear to God, there's a resort fee.
He looked like that guy from The Simpsons.
Yeah, Smithers.
That's Burns.
Smithers, or yeah, Burns.
Smithers.
Yeah, whatever. Whoever the boss is, that's exactly who's creating. That's the person that's creating these fucking fees.
Yeah,
it's the same fucking guy. And meanwhile, you go to get ice. There's a homeless guy pissing in the fucking ice machine. It's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, dude. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to go unless the rooms were free.
Right. So I can't wait for that to change. But that's what stinks, and maybe a lot of it is just California, but I'm pretty sure it's nationwide. It's a problem, but it's rough out there. So be careful with hotels, gang. That's the message today. All right. So do you have another topic, another segment you want to get to today?
No, but I forgot to mention that Bill Paxton was also in Predator 2. Which is awesome because he just makes every movie so much better.
You know what's great? What I was about to say. Wow, that goes not going to be a good look for me. What I was going to say is, you know what's great? Now he's no longer with us, which is just a terrible thing to say. R.I.P. Bill Paxton. But what I was about to say, and I won't get too deep into this because this is a uniting show, not a divisive show. But me and Christian have had a run of actors and people we've liked for years, saying things and doing things that are now annoying us, either politically or otherwise. Bill Paxton, his legacy will live on because he's not here to make those mistakes with you and I. So,
and he would have. I know he would have. It would have been another one who just ruined it. He got out. He got out at the exact right time, for sure.
So yeah. So
and
R.I.P. Bill Paxton.
I also want to say one of my favorite movie tropes, which this was like Predator, where they have to go and get the expert, and the expert is like, "I'm retired. I'm not coming out of retirement." And then there's
Love
like
that go-to.
and then there's like a montage of them like smoking a cigar, like drinking, and then the very next day they're like, "Okay, I'm in. One last rodeo. I'll do it this one last time." And then it ends horrifically. It's always like one last job. I love that trope in any movie. Like, one last job. Like, I won't do it. And then it takes no convincing either. It takes no convincing.
No, it's just one night. It's just one night of good sleep and a shower.
That's it.
Just right back into it.
They're like, I'm fucking in, dude.
Every once in a while, they'll get a little more clever with it, and they'll have like a side character, like make them reflect, and then they go, "Oh, yeah, I should probably get back to it." Every once in a while, but otherwise,
yeah,
they'll go back home to their parents' house or like an old friend's. Like, yeah, I think this is what they're trying to tell you. You know?
Yeah. It's like a wife or a daughter or something, and then they're like, I gotta do it for them. I gotta
get back. Gotta do it for them.
In Predator's case, he just goes to the forest, and they all get ripped apart. His whole team gets shredded alive. It's like so funny to me. I love that trope in any movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's pretty good. Remember that movie?
By the way, that's every Jason Statham movie. It's every Jason Statham movie where he's retired. He's an ex-CIA killer. Now he's beekeeping or something. Can you take a break from the bees? And he goes, guess I can do that.
Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's a pretty good Statham.
Thank you.
The thing with Statham, though, is normal. What I like about his thing, I mean, obviously it's been done 100 times, and I'll watch all 120 of them.
I will too.
But what I do like about his initial ones is that it was always that, but it was always like he never. It was always like the circumstances forced him to. It wasn't like someone was trying, like, "We need you, buddy." It was no. He's just trying to live his life, and it was like shit is falling apart around him. He's like, I guess I'm the only one.
Yeah,
it's always that way too. Ooh, let's get into that. Clearly, it's not Beekeeper. For my buddy Matt Daly, shout out to him, who hates that movie. He couldn't even finish, like he couldn't even get 30 minutes in, which I think was a mistake. We can get back to that. But of all the Jason Statham movies you've seen, what's your favorite one?
Ooh,
it doesn't have to be where he's a lead. It's just any movie where he has
You know what's a really fun movie? And I was staying in Reno at the Nugget, and this
on a movie marathon.
Yes, and this movie popped on the TV. It's the Fast and the Furious spinoff with him and The Rock.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Yes. That's a fun, shitty fucking movie. I also like the original Transporter. Is always great.
Right, of course.
I'm so bad on the spot when it comes to this shit, but hold on. Do you have one in mind?
Good thing we don't do movies or podcasts or anything. Or that would come in really handy. Yeah, I got several.
All right, hold on.
The two that popped in my head right now is, I mean, there's plenty that he's known for, right? That people are like, oh, Crank was like one of the people that people really love with him in it. For me, and now we're getting into guilty pleasure stuff because, frankly, most of his movies are they're not stupendous films, right? Most of them, they're just it's all fun, about entertainment, right? Yeah. So the one that I relate to the most because it's a good guy movie is Homefront.
Okay. Yep.
And that's because James Franco adds an element to it where because James Franco, he's as far as I know, he might be a tool and he could be a creep. I have no idea what's up with that guy. He's weird, but his acting is always good. Even in
he's
that
a great
movie,
villain.
Yeah, he's a great villain. And in that movie, he's barely a villain. He's just like a local meth head. But he's just so good at so that was good. And I love that because it's like a dad protecting his daughter. And again, he's just like, I'm just out here trying to live my life and just can't do it.
Fine. He goes, fine. I'll do it.
So good.
I mean, I'll do it, but this is the last time until my next movie. No, have you seen Wrath of Man by Guy Ritchie? That's a good one.
So I think I have. The problem, and I was thinking about this, is because I had a feeling you were going to list something like that. And I'm like, dude, a lot of these movies, he has similar like roles. So it's
every movie
for me. I know.
It's every dude. I'm looking at the filmography right now. It's the same fucking movie. It's
like the Liam Neeson problem, where it's just him on the cover with a gun, leaning on every cover. You know.
Do you remember this one? War with Jet Li.
Yes, Jet Li. That's a really good movie. Well, from a martial arts perspective, it's one of the best. People, really like that movie.
Great twist, by the way. Really good twist
Yeah.
in that movie.
I haven't seen. Yeah, you guys should go see it. I forgot about the twist because it's probably been 19 years since I've seen it.
That was 2007, doggy.
Okay, still. I mean,
No, I mean, a long time ago. Yeah. I was
17 years. Is that? Yeah. No. Yeah, 17 years.
Yeah, crazy.
So yeah, those are all good. And then one thing that came on the other day, speaking of old throwbacks and things that you would probably see in Reno or at a hotel, my first introduction to Jason Statham, I actually think it was The Transporter, but he was nobody at the time. And that movie was a British film that it got like a cult following later, but it wasn't like in theaters or anything. It wasn't like that kind of movie. Or maybe it was, but I was too young to really follow it. So I saw it later, but I didn't know who he was and I didn't care. But one of our favorite movies where I first noticed him was like, oh, I actually really like him. Yes, he knows where I'm going with this. The Italian Job with Mark Wahlberg and Edward Norton. What a cast that was. Most Def. That was a killer cast. Charlize Theron, Donald Sutherland. What a cast.
That was like my first introduction to Mark Wahlberg too.
And he was good in it.
He
didn't have to be like anything special, but he was surrounded by. Well, I think comedically he got better. Like the other guys and things like that.
Yeah, and actually, like he's kind of the opposite from Jason Statham because I'll watch anything Statham's in at this point because they're all kind of just
you know what you're gonna get.
You know what you're gonna get, and it's the same thing with Mark Wahlberg. But I can't stand his fucking movies anymore. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Well,
I mean, he's doing things like Father Stew.
Well, that was so we did an episode, a couple things called The Passion Project. That's what that was from an actor standpoint. It's different, a little bit. It's like I was talking about where they do movies where you're like, it's the role that no one would give them. So
sure.
they lobby other directors or something. And if you don't know Father Stew, he's a Catholic. I mean, Mark Wahlberg is a devout Catholic. So it made sense why he would do. And that is one of the reasons I love him is he moved out of California. He's not for the bullshit. He got out. He's a Catholic. He'd still, he's for whoever. And all I mean by that is he has principles that he holds to. That's all. He's not being convinced of things really.
He seems pretty genuine. Although the whole run of him getting up at like 2:30 in the morning to work out is fucking so stupid. Dude.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's like The Rock. All these guys get that.
Yeah, but dude, he was getting up at like literally. They had like a thing of like his daily schedule, and he was going to bed at like 6 p.m. just to wake up at 2 a.m. to work out. And it's like
seems a little backwards.
You could move that. You could wake up at 6 a.m. and work out. It's okay.
Well, especially at this time in your career. And also, there's no way that, I mean, I guess in theory, maybe it works because if he's on set early in his career and he's not home and maybe those hours made sense as an actor, maybe at that time. But now you're doing everything's on your schedule. So you could do whatever you want.
Yeah. And like and then he's obviously like filming it and he's like at home. And it's like, dude, you're not that busy, bro. How many meetings during the day do you really have? Because you have people to handle this shit for you.
Well,
you
should by now.
Yeah, you have kids, but you have other people tending to them. Like you can work out at a normal hour. You don't need to work out at 2 a.m. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's like the whole Rock and Kevin Hart thing. It's like you guys are always going live from a gym somewhere constantly.
Yeah, the Iron Paradise.
And I will say, at least with Kevin Hart, I mean, love him or hate him, but he is seemingly always at everything. So that guy stays busy as hell.
Yeah, he does. And credit to him, he's like taking a break from movies, which I think was a smart move.
Yeah, just let the buzz die down.
He's in every commercial, but it's like, yeah, I mean, it's smart on him because he was becoming, unbearable to me too.
Yeah, and his movies were never good. They were never good. I couldn't think of one movie. The last one I think he did. This is funny. Did you see the one he did with Mark Wahlberg?
No. Maybe.
Homework assignment. Here's the homework assignment. You got to do it because I actually thought it was watchable from an entertainment standpoint. It's called. It's so funny. The name of the movie is funny. Hold on.
What, Yin and Yang?
I think it's called.
Here's a white guy and a black guy, and here's how they're different.
It's actually called Me Time which is a terrible name for this because it doesn't tell you at all what it's about. But basically, the premise of this is Kevin Hart is like, he's like a stay-at-home dad now, and I won't get into like the other subplot of that because it's not relevant. But he's kind of he's not really the breadwinner in the family, but everybody's cool with it except for his peers.
I
They
did
kind
see
of
this.
right, and they're like buddies, but his Mark
I
Wahlberg's
did.
from his past, yeah, and he's like, it's funny because
He's the embarrassing friend, right? that he
right,
doesn't wanna
because
bring
Kevin
around.
Hart is actually not trying to be funny. In
He's
fact,
a straight man.
it's weird. Neither of them. It's a weird paradox because neither of them are actually trying to be funny. But somehow the chemistry was okay, so it was like watchable. But I mean, obviously the plot is ridiculous and stupid.
It's
and whatever,
horrible.
but it was just horrible. But those two were not annoying like they are in some other movies. I wasn't like annoyed by them. I was like, okay, like that's cool, because they
Yeah.
weren't trying to be funny. Anyway, all right, so we're at an hour. What we got decisions to make. I'll get the review for I had an announcement too very quickly on reviews. So I've been doing reviews now for several times. We got I think our 7th one up. If you go to the screengods.com, you'll see all of them up there. And I've got let's see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think 7 reviews dating back all the way to August 21st of the Alien Romulus is the first one I did. And then I've done, we did Despicable Me 4, Beetlejuice, Never Let Go, Speak No Evil, The Substance, Smile 2, all those. And now that I've done several of these, I'm going to pivot a little bit into how I do these because I find myself filling out sections of the reviews because I break it down into categories. And sometimes I find myself just writing things just to say it, and that's exhausting. So I'm going to pivot my reviews to basically I'm going to just give you like what I would give someone on the street. Like it's just one periodical, so it's like one article, almost like a, whatever you would call it, a column, in the newspaper. I'm not going to break it down into categories and stuff. I'm just going to say, this is what I give this movie and here's why.
Yeah.
And I'll have more fun with the writing that way.
You can go, it's mid, and that's it.
Well, I don't think
Yo, dog.
I'll put that on my instant reactions. I'll do that.
It's mid.
Yeah. Also on my when I share on our post, when I do our reels of the instant heat meter ratings, like most people can't swipe for more. They can't spend more than like half a second on every reel. So there's no point in me like giving all the slides of the different ratings because no one's getting that far anyway on anything unless you're doing the Thriller dance or something, which is the cool trend. Gotta love that that's still around though. I will say, best choreography I've seen in any music video ever. It still holds up today. It's great.
It
really good.
stinks.
No, it's really good. No, it doesn't. No,
it fucking
just because
stinks.
It's played out doesn't mean it stinks. It was original. It was clever. It was really good. It does not stink. Don't let him influence you on that. It's good.
You don't want to get into my Michael Jackson takes.
No, I know. We got to separate the art from the artist.
No,
right?
no. It's not even that. It's not even that.
You just don't like him? You just don't think he's good?
No, I think he's great, but he's overrated a little bit to me. I don't know.
This is great. This is good. Please don't do the trend, please. That's just terrible.
Are you dressing up? You always do something fun for Halloween at work.
No. Oh, not always. Our company usually does, and I've done it a couple years, but only because there's a girl who named Christina. Shout out to Christina, who always wins, and she's like the costume queen and kind of prank queen at the office, and she's very confident. And so one year I had to take her down just to get her knock her off her pedestal. And so she put a bunch of work into, I can't remember what the costume was now, her costume, but she puts a ton of work. Like she crafts things and she's hot gluing stuff. I mean, she's doing crazy. One year she was a Zoltar machine. You know what that is? From the movie Big, where it's the guy with the turban and
yeah.
She made a box and made herself with lights in it and made herself like a walking Zoltar machine.
That's pretty sick.
Crazy. She does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, big last year, big holiday for hot glue.
Yeah. So I'm not doing any of that because I'm too lazy. One year I was just like, all right, how do I beat her but put zero effort into it? Right, because now you're speaking my language, right? I grabbed a Homer Simpson mask, and I bought a donut, a Homer donut, one that I could actually eat, by the way. And I had 2 tall boxes that I had a couple of my coworkers just put green paper on. and then I came out for the contest, and then I reversed into the boxes, and they closed them, so it looked like I was the Homer into the bushes gif.
Yeah, beautiful.
Slaughtered.
Love it.
I literally walked out of the company into the hallway and never came back. To the contest, I just disappeared.
You can really just do any meme now. Like
If you're good.
I saw a lot of people going as just Johnson & Johnson baby oil for P. Diddy.
Wow.
I mean, simple, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like
Effective.
it. It's terrifying.
It is scary. It is scary. That's real life fear.
Dude, I'm so lazy. All right, last thought, and then we'll go. But one year, I just put on a red flannel and bought paper towels, and I was just the brawny guy.
Did you just hold the paper towels in your hand?
That's it. Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. Well, that's the thing, right? If you just get creative about it, you don't need to do a lot of work, right? And that's what I'm about, man. Low investment, high reward, high ROI.
All right.
Okay,
guys.
cool. So we'll figure out what movie we're going to see next. But I'm looking forward to it. And, again, thanks for joining us live. I'll get this posted up, get the review up, all that. The Wild Robot, movie of the month.
Check it out.
October.
Check it out.
Take the family, even if you don't take kids, even if you don't take them. It's worth it.
Great movie. All right, guys. Have a happy Halloween, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Bye, y'all.